Honourable Amanda Dorn.
Thank you, President. I rise today with a brief but critical chronological account of events in an effort to save Perth Hills against a proposed development. In 1991, the first plan to develop North Stoneville is released and rejected by the community, not only for the loss of 60,000 trees and critical habitat for countless wildlife, including the endangered black cockatoos, but the immense bushfire risk the development presents. Save Perth Hills is not anti-development, no, they're pro-safety, pro-environment and pro-community. They want smart planning that respects the limits of the landscape. January 2008, the Stoneville bushfire. This is the bushfire Nigel Satterley excludes from all their documentation on North Stoneville. A tree made contact with a conductor on a 20,000-volt power line, sparking a huge blaze. 3 houses and a shed containing vintage cars was destroyed. Several people had to shelter in a dam to save their lives. This fire burned on North Stoneville land, but Satterley refuses to acknowledge it in any formal documentation, despite Save Perth Hills calling this out on numerous occasions. January 2014, the devastating Stoneville, Parkerville, Mount Helena bushfire erupted after a power line fell and ignited grass on Granite Road. Heatwave conditions with temperatures in the high 40s fueled the fire, which took days to bring under control and more than 2 weeks to extinguish completely. 57 homes were destroyed and many more were damaged, with permanent impacts on residents and families felt across 3 adjoining Perth Hills communities. Over 1,300 people evacuated to the Mundaring Rec Centre, but they had to be re-evacuated to the Brown Park Recreational Complex because there was no room, and they ended up in Swanview. The bushfire burned within 1 kilometre of the proposed North Stoneville site. July 2020, Western Australia Planning Commission, WAPC, rejects Satterley's North Stoneville Structure Plan SP34, ruling it contravenes 4 state planning policies, specifically planning in a bushfire-prone area, lack of emergency escape, a bushfire risk, surrounded by extreme bushfire zone, within flying embers, reaching nearby John Forrest National Park, the destruction of wildlife and endangered species habitats in a nationally recognised biodiverse region. It contravenes the Natural Hazards and Disasters Policy. This site will be unable to cope with 11,000 plus extra traffic movements this development would generate each day. August 2020, Satterley lodges a formal appeal to WA's State Admin Tribunal, SAT, against the WAPC rejection of North Stoneville. November 2020, the first of 3 long years of confidential mediations between WAPC and Satterley as the State Tribunal begins, as Satterley seeks a way to get its rejected fire trap plan to an approvable level. The community is not privy to what Satterley and the WAPC are mediating on. The hearings are held behind closed doors. That same month, November 2020, the New South Wales Summer of Fires Royal Commission recommends avoid development in extreme bushfire zones. By 2022, Satterley has had 9 confidential mediations with the WAPC, and this one is revealed publicly. Satterley is now getting a second chance to amend its unapprovable and rejected North Stoneville plan to try to make it approvable. January 2021, the Wooroloo bushfire, Perth Hills' worst bushfire, burned out of control for 6 days and within 5 kilometres of the North Stoneville site. The bushfire had a devastating impact on the community, causing extensive damage to surrounding shires, destroying 86 properties and damaging many more. Around 11,000 hectares were burnt, with an estimated 500,000 people placed on bushfire alerts across multiple local government regions. The fire burned for 3 weeks until it was finally declared out. May 2023, both the Shire of Mundaring and the City of Swan councils unanimously reject Sadler's amended version 2 plan, citing unacceptable bushfire dangers, unacceptable environmental loss, unacceptable traffic risks, unacceptable costs, no public transport, rejected by the Department of Fire and Emergency. DFES rejected this, and 31 years of relentless rejection by the community and more than 4,000 public submissions. December of that year, 2023, the WA Planning Commission rejects Satterley's amended version 2 plan. Reasons for the rejection include the bushfire dangers, fails to include accurate technical information on traffic, safe evacuation, bushfire analysis and modelling, fails to demonstrate environmental values, fails to demonstrate true impact traffic on networks. Satterley admits that this development will add 11,000 plus extra traffic movements every day. Satterley and the Anglican Church still can't demonstrate safe evacuation of more than 3,000 people in a bushfire emergency, jammed traffic gridlock along rural roads in bushfire emergency. Rejection and opposition to this dangerous and destructive plan has been publicly stated from both local councils, Shire of Mundaring, the City of Swan, rejected by the WAPC twice, along with the rejection of DFES, and 31 years of relentless rejection by the community with over 4,000 public submissions made. Adam Hort, your Liberal candidate for your Liberal member, my apologies, your Liberal colleague for Kalamunda, made a passionate speech, an excellent speech at the last rally of Save Perth Hills against this development, and again with his own member's statement just recently. This clearly is not an altruistic fight for development in a housing crisis. No, it's not. This is a developer's fight of might, and might is right. Nigel Satterley, bloated with ego and hubris, determined to ignore all opposition to his fire risk plan at the expense of the local community and the natural environment and all wildlife that call this area home. The Animal Justice Party stands in solidarity with Save Perth Hills. The solution is easy. Amend the Metropolitan Scheme, MRS, rezone Lot 48 Stoneville Road, North Stoneville, from urban back to rural. Alternatively, have the Labor government buy back this gifted land from the Anglican Church, valued at approximately $800,000 per hectare, which would be a total of $444 million. I ask my colleagues in this chamber for their support for your allocation, your notice of motion, to putting forward a private members bill and push this critical issue forward as a matter of urgency. The most logical and cost-effective way to protect this community and the essential habitat and biodiversity living within this critical environment is to have Lot 48 North Stoneville rezoned back to rural.